Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Southern Dirt. My name is Summer and today I'll be taking you through my 6th garden tour of our 2020 fall garden. If you guys are curious to know how this garden has been growing, I'll have a list of all of our garden tours. We actually have a playlist for all of the tours for this particular garden this season. So you can go back and see all the plants that we started, all the seeds we used, the different brands, and all the struggles that we went through and all the successes. So I hope you guys stick around. As you can see, we've got some sunflowers that are opening up and I can't wait to show you that. We've got a lot of things that are flourishing now that the weather has cooled down a bit. And we've also had some frostbite. So I'm gonna take you around and show you what we're gonna do about that. If this is the first time you are joining us on my gardening channel, I'd like to welcome you guys. This is a pan of our fall garden this season. We have about 1,100 square feet in our backyard area, but we also have a food forest and a large orchard and grove in our front yard. So if you want to learn more about that, I'll have our full food forest and information in the link below so you guys can view those videos. I try my best to upload monthly videos or bi-weekly videos at least. So if you guys want to go and check any of those videos out, they'll be in the description. So a lot of our lettuce over here is starting to go to seed. Most likely what I'm going to do is pull this entire bed up and replant. I'm not exactly sure yet what I'm going to be putting in this bed, but I do plan on putting a video out for what to plant in January. I already have my list together. I'm just not exactly sure where I'm going to put everything. So as soon as I know where I'm going to place everything, so I can kind of show you how to integrate new plants into your garden throughout the season, I'll put that video together. But over here, I wanted to show you guys my Bok Choy. So this is the first time I've grown Bok Choy, and it recently went to seed. I didn't know it was ready. So as soon as I noticed we had flowers or seeds sprouting, I started to harvest some of my other Bok Choy because then I knew it was ready. I hear that you can actually harvest off the bottom of the plant and use it in stir fries if you want to. I actually just pulled some of these plants out. Actually, I cut the bottom of them to leave the roots in, as you can see, because those roots will break down and just kind of help the soil bed there by not disturbing any earthworms or any microorganisms that are helping. And some salads. And if you guys want to watch what I'm doing with my food in the kitchen and our kids playing in the garden and helping me harvest food, you can certainly follow us on Instagram, which is Southern Dirt Gardener. I love sharing photos. But we have some kale that's doing great. We have mint over here along with some thyme. Over here we have some strawberries on our strawberry tower, which is doing pretty good. Since the last video, I kind of cleaned them up. Our kids have been, as soon as they turn red, they're gone. Our kids are harvesting them. And of course, they took all of my red ones. I was hoping I'd show you. But we do have lots of blooms that are coming through in here. And we've got some butter crunch down here as well. Over in this bed we have some carrots and some radishes, which we've been using a lot in our salads. I probably eat salads almost every day, if not every other day. And these are just great to throw on our salads and or just dip them in a bowl of ranch. A lot of days I'll come out here and just grab a bunch of vegetables and have a plate of vegetables with a bowl of ranch. Probably not the healthiest thing, but I think it might cancel each other out. But over here I have some rattlesnake beans. I just harvested a ton of these because I did multiple sowings of them. I'll show you the rest of them in the garden. But look at how neat these things are. These are from Baker Creek Seed Company. So look at these guys over here. Now this one got a little big and was hiding behind here. I didn't notice it. So sometimes if our beans get really large and bulgy like this, I just leave them and know that this will become seeds that we save for next year. Because what we found is beans, if you leave them and they get too big and bulgy, they become woody or really dry and just not a good thing to eat. Over here we have our shooting star eggplants. They're just these beautiful eggplants that have purple and white stripes throughout them, and they give off these awesome flowers. I'm actually going to be doing a second sowing pretty soon after this frost, and I just can't get enough of them in our garden. So that kind of completes this first area. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this garden last garden update, so I'm going to jump in here and kind of show you, because a lot of things in this garden is just looking so beautiful. Like here is our purple cabbage, and then we have some collard greens back here. They're southern collards. And then I have some cabbage. It's a different variety, a 45-day cabbage, I believe. Look at that guy. Look at how beautiful that is. So cute. So we've alternated our cabbage with purple and green. We have some more collard greens here. Now I will be sowing some peas through here. I didn't have much success with my peas earlier this season. They died off. We did harvest a few, but I'm going to do a second sowing of those soon, and I'll let you know when I am. And over here we have broccoli, which is doing awesome. I've got my onions, and a few of my beets that have survived are actually finally taking off. Look at this guy. You can actually see his base right there. And over in this section, I have a regular Dinosaur Kale with onions mixed in. I've been harvesting a ton of these, and excuse all my weeds. I have had no time from between November, the holidays, from Thanksgiving until now, to even get into this garden and do much other than harvest and clean up some of the leaves. I think I fertilized a couple days ago. Over in this section, I have what's called a dazzling blue kale. These leaves are just so pretty. We've been making a lot of kale chips and different soups, and I'll mix these into my salads. They're just so pretty. And what they'll actually end up doing through the season is I'll keep harvesting from the bottom, and they will just grow like a tree. I grew kale for the first time last year, and I wish I had been growing it all of my gardening lifetime, because it just produced so much food and it was so good. So if you don't have kale in your garden, it tastes so much different than it does in the store. That's why I didn't want it to even have anything to do with kale, because I had tried it in a store bag and it was disgusting, and it's so much different when it's grown fresh. So my tomatoes have been doing really awesome. I've had a little issues with some worms, but we keep spraying our plants with BT, and every tomato plant looks very healthy. Look at those guys. And I have a little, this was a plant that a friend gave me, and it gives off these tiny itty bitty tomatoes. Look at those guys. They're actually really fun. I've been harvesting these and putting them in salads. So it's nice, you don't have to get out a knife or a cutting board to cut up your tomatoes. But look at these guys. I cannot wait for these guys to turn red. We also harvest them if we're doing a fish fry or something. We'll take a few green tomatoes and fry them, because we love some fried green tomatoes. And that's something else too, if you have a hard freeze that's coming and you're not able to cover your plants, go ahead and harvest your food. I was able to create a tent system over these tomatoes and our freezes, so these have all been just fine. Since my stakes are really high, my leaves didn't get touched. Over here I wanted to stop and show you, because I see a ton of blueberries on our blueberry bushes. We have them wrapping around our garden, and they are giving us a second harvest. Look at these guys. So our kids absolutely love to come out here and pick blueberries every day after school and pick their carrots. They have a lot of fun doing that. Those are called emerald blueberries. So we'll get a harvest in the spring and in the fall. Here are my cabbage. And check out this guy. I mean, I could harvest him, but I just want to see how big he's going to get. And they're doing good. my puny one that never did anything. Look at this. My kids come out here and just think this is amazing. So here's some more broccoli. And check out these guys. I'm starting to get a little bit of broccoli coming in. And we actually were gone for Christmas break, and we came back to all kinds of surprises in the garden. It was a lot of fun to come home and go, oh, here we've got some broccoli, and just watching the kids run around and go, look mommy how big the cabbage got. And it was just a good time. So I'm excited to start harvesting some of this broccoli. Over here we have some royal burgundy beans, and look, here we've got one. So look at these little babies. These we call magic beans because they're really neat. They grow purple, but when you put them in the frying pan, they turn green. So it's very interesting to see these guys turn in the kitchen. Look at how pretty that is. So our kids love watching them. They'll actually get in the kitchen with me and cook them just to see the color change. But these are actually taken off. They're doing really good. So that really completes that garden over there. Over here, look at our sunflowers. I've got to get my husband out here to get a measuring tape to measure actually how high this guy is. I'm gonna actually turn the camera around so you can kind of see out and show you how big they are compared to me. So look at that, isn't that neat? Oh, it's so much fun growing sunflowers. Our kids, our neighbors, even my husband just thinks it's amazing. We've got all 4 of these that have opened on this side. These are called Mammoth Sunflowers, and I actually have been saving seeds over the years. So these are actually seeds that I have saved from my first seed packet of Mammoth Sunflowers ever, and I just keep harvesting them. Oh, there's a bee there. I don't know if y'all can see that. So if you guys want to see a list of seeds that I have for sale, I'll put those in the description below. But look at how tall this one is. And it's just starting to open up. So it should be fully open in a few days. This one has already started to hang over. And if you're new to growing sunflowers, you want to let them actually do this if you're going to save the seeds. They will start to mature and get larger. So the seeds will start to develop on the flower head. It usually takes about 30 days for them to develop. So you want to just leave them there and hope and pray that birds or squirrels don't get them. Some years we have luck and some other years we don't. So far nothing has touched that, knock on wood. We have a few other sunflowers we popped in over here. So in our first row here we have some 1,000 head kale. Again, this stuff just grows and grows and grows and produces so much food for our family. It doesn't look like it, but we've harvested a ton of this stuff and it just keeps coming back and giving off these beautiful leaves. And again, we use it just like we use our kale and our collard greens. Over in this little fancy garden, we've got some more purple cabbage and some Brussels sprouts. I'm finally starting to get a couple little balls starting down here on my Brussels sprouts. And we've got some Swiss chard over here. Oh, this guy's taken off. Has anybody ever just harvested the cabbage leaves off the bottom and used them throughout the season in different dishes? I'm curious because it takes so long for that actual head to develop that I'm wondering how well the leaves taste. So if you've done that before, or that's a common thing you do in your household, please let me know, and what type of recipe you use in the comment section below. And if you guys have any questions for me too, please don't be afraid to ask. This is why I'm here. I love being able to share my experience, share my fails, share some of my successes, and share what I've learned over the years from other people and from my garden. So please always feel free to ask questions, even if you feel they're stupid. There is no stupid gardening question. So over in this section here, we have some kohlrabi. And if you've never grown kohlrabi, it's just this very interesting plant. And I just love looking at it in the garden. It's so good for a snack. We like to harvest them and just slice them up and eat them raw with salt. But I've since heard of some new recipes from some of you followers. So thank you for sharing stuff, because sometimes I get stuck in the kitchen and not know what to do with all this food. A lot of time I'm throwing it into soups because it's just so easy to throw a ton of vegetables into a soup and, you know, put it in a crock pot. So if you ever have any fun garden recipes to share with me, please put them in the comment section below. Over here we have some carrots, and kids just absolutely love carrots. If you ask them what their favorite thing is to grow in the garden, they're going to tell you carrots and peas and sunflowers. Over here I had some tiny pepper plants, and I got a little frostbite. I honestly just forgot to cover them because they're so low to the ground. I really was rushing the last time we had a little bit of a frost. So what I did is took all the food off of it and snipped back the pieces that got frostbite. And you can see I still have some leaves coming up on the bottom. Even here, I think these plants will survive. So if you ever have something like that happen, even here I've got my stubs. I'm not sure if these guys are gonna make it or those, but just try your best to cut off what you have, unless you know there's a frost coming up really quickly. So actually could protect your plant by leaving the bad pieces of the plant that have already been frostbit on there. So just like these are my tomato plants, which I did cover. And though I did not have stakes tall enough to cover them, so my sheets had to lay on top of these plants, which the top of them did get frostbite. So if you ever have a frost, try your best to keep your sheets off of the actual plant, because even though you're covering it, it can be harmful to your vegetables, just as you see here. So I'm actually leaving this on here because we have a possible frost coming this weekend, and we are actually going to be gone, and I'm really nervous because I don't like leaving my garden when we know that might be a possible frost. So if anything, maybe some of that dead stuff will help protect the rest of the plant. I just plan on putting my irrigation on, but look at this tomato. It's so pretty. So I thought I'd pop in and show you guys what I'm doing to my watering system, since we will be gone with a possible frost and nobody to cover. What I'm doing is I'm gonna start my start time to where our typical lowest temperatures come here, which are 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm letting it run for a full hour. So between 4 and 5, my plants will just be getting soaked in this small garden at least. But as far as my rest of the garden, it will be on a drip system. Even though it will not be putting water on my plants, it will at least warm the ground a bit in hopes that it may help. So if anything, it's better than nothing. So if you have the same situation, hopefully you can try that and it may help save your plants. But these plants are doing great. And again, I'm spraying these with BT, which has been super helpful. Look at all those beautiful tomatoes. This has absolutely been the best year growing tomatoes for me. I'm getting a wonderful fruit production. All my leaves and plants are looking just perfect compared to some years. So over here I have a second sowing of rattlesnake beans. Again, these are the cool beans I was showing you earlier. These guys are just perfect size to harvest right now, actually. So when I do a second sowing, I kind of wait a couple weeks and do another sowing, and I'm trying to get better at that so that I have a continuous production of food in the garden and not all at once. So for instance, my bok choy, I planted them all together, and I wish I would have staged them out a little bit more, but the good thing is January is a good time to plant bok choy. Our family loves to eat green beans, so I have no problem feeding these to my children, and my husband loves green beans, so we could really eat green beans several times a week. Look at that. And they've been growing up here. Oh, look at that. I really need to get out here and start harvesting some of these. So over here I have a couple plants that are surviving. These are my sugar snap peas, and they're starting to flower up at top. This is what's left of my squash and zucchini. I have tried really hard to keep these guys alive this year. We've run into all kinds of things, from too much rain. We had different funguses and struggles with them. We've used a lot of different products on them, and thankfully some of them are still alive. They're still flowering, and we've been harvesting quite a bit. I wanted to show you guys my little lettuce area. This is our second sowing of lettuce in this rusty old water trough my husband brought home for me. And I have a question for you guys. When you plant lettuce so close together, do you really get in there and just harvest the outside of the leaves, or would you come through here and just like trim them and let them grow back up? I'm curious to know what to do, because it just seems like a whole lot of work. I wanted to kind of sow them close together to see what they did. And I've got some spinach growing here as well. I figured I'd pop in over here and show you guys my back barn garden. If I didn't have enough space in our backyard or in our front yard, I wanted to have a container garden just to kind of compare and see. And this one's something that we hand water. We don't actually have irrigation set up to. So it allows us to come back here and kind of test some things. I do have some Seminal Pumpkins in a container. This past season was the first time I ever grew Seminal Pumpkins. If you've never grown them, they're native to our area and our zone in Florida, and they just give off so much food. If you want to go back and see some of the previous videos of this season, we just harvested a ton of those. So over in here I've got some collard greens, and I have some, hello! And here's our cows, Daisy and Buttercup. And over here I also have some more rattlesnake beans, which was our third sowing. So we'd have them back to back. And then I have some different beans, which are a little bit frostbit. And these are just industrial beans that my husband actually bought for our food plot for our deer in our back property, that I figured, you know what, I think I'm just gonna try them out and see how they grow here. So that's it for the backyard garden. I will be updating you guys on what's going on our front. Right now there's not a whole lot to show you except for our awesome papayas and lemons, which I showed you on our last video. But I hope you guys have a good week, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you guys for watching.